Hello friends, this is Thaddeus from Going Nerdy, and today I want to talk about the Nute Gunray and Count Dooku reworks that we are bound to be getting here in the next couple of weeks. One thing I want to say before I even begin is I think it's really cool that with all the new canon stuff that's been introduced about these two characters, Nute Gunray and Dooku, from the books, we have information from Nute about the Queen's Shadow, kind of like what he was doing in the background, some of his machinations. It's really kind of neat. And then you have Master and Apprentice by Claudia Gray and the holodrama Dooku Lost Jedi, and all of that information gives us a great deal of additional background on these two characters, more specifically Dooku than Nute Gunray. But I think it's really cool that they're reworking these characters around this time that we've gotten all this information. Me personally, as I've gone through these books, it's been really fascinating to learn more about these characters and a side of these characters that we haven't really seen before, specifically Count Dooku. Now, back on April 30th, we got this post from C.G. Carey, and she goes through and says, look, we are trying to give you more information. We're trying to be more upfront. Obviously, that's not going to be 100% all the time, but to that end, we're going to be reworking these two characters. And she says that Nute Gunray is going to get a more substantial rework than Count Dooku, which makes sense. Count Dooku at least has a Zeta. Nute Gunray isn't really good and never has been, with the exception of the Nutini team, which was awesome, but was neutered pretty quickly. Haha, neutered. But with that, I think it makes sense that these two characters are getting the rework. And again, Nute really needs one. I want to start off with Dooku, though. Count Dooku is a phenomenal character in the books and in the canon. He's just great. As far as Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, he's okay. And he can hold his own. He has a good percentage of places that he can actually be a part of or be viable in. And it sounds like they're going to be making him necessary for this territory battle. Now, if that's the case, then we have to say, well, what is it about the territory battle that we need to figure out, or what are we going to be getting? And looking at his kit, I mean, he has Hindering Press, Force Lightning, Master Tactician, and Flawless Riposte. Now, Flawless Riposte is the Zeta-able ability. This is the one that gives Dooku a 100% counter chance. In addition, whenever he attacks outside of his turn, he deals 30% more damage, has a 25% chance to gain 45% turn meter, recover 10% protection, and gain critical hit immunity for one turn. Now, what's interesting about that is really the only thing that gives him it's the counter damage, the protection, and the critical hit immunity, which are good, but as the game is now, with all the stuff that's been going on, it's not good enough, right? And if you've been playing the Padme Amidala, and if you've been struggling like I have, I've gotten to 6-star Padme, and I'm having a difficult time. But if you've been playing it, then you know that Dooku, while good, there's a lot of little things that he needs to be better at. One of the things that's really impressive to me about Count Dooku is even at a young age, he was a great swordsman. He was a great duelist. And one of the things that I don't see in this kit is that ability to counter, to block, to parry, to be the swordsman that he was. So one thing that I would like to see added to Count Dooku is, in addition to Flawless Riposte, something that allows him to evade Jedi attacks more often, right? Something that would allow him to either counter the damage, or even flick the damage back onto the enemy. We do have that kind of in Flawless Riposte, where he's able to counter, but what I would like to see is maybe redirect the attack, right? I really think that it'd be interesting to have a Dooku who could avoid more and more Jedi attacks. And I think that would be in keeping with the events on Geonosis. So I feel like that we could see something like that. Now, other than that, really, I think we just need an increase in stats. He's not a terrible character if you gear him all the way up. He's okay, but he could be a lot better. And I think with some of the Jedi that could be coming, and definitely with some of the Jedi that already are in the game, I think he needs to be a lot better. To the extent that I think that he needs to be maybe like one step below a Grandmaster Yoda. Maybe not that powerful, maybe not that viable in the game, but for a Separatist team, he definitely needs to have a lot more oomph than we're getting. Now, the last thing that I would really love to see with him, and I'm not even going to touch on the Master Tactician, the leadership ability. That needs to be completely reworked. One of the things that I would love to see is Dooku have more of a connection with his apprentices. That means Asajj Ventress, that means Savage Opress, quite possibly Quinlan Vos. If we were to get him added to the game, that would be awesome, because then we could get a light and dark side Jedi, but then we would need also a different Asajj, which I'd be totally fine with, a bounty hunter / bad ape Asajj, right? But it would be cool. I don't think that we necessarily, specifically with Asajj, I don't think we seem to see an Asajj rework. We just need to see Dooku work better with Asajj, right? That would be awesome. I would also like to see him connect with like Nute Gunray and Palpatine and the droids more effectively. And so maybe have an additional unique, something with a Zeta-able ability. I don't know, but I think that would be really interesting and kind of important, because Dooku is a key character in this series. He really is influential, not only as a Separatist, but as a Jedi, a fallen Jedi, someone who trained Qui-Gon, who trained Obi-Wan, who trained Anakin. I mean, he is very important to the series, and I just don't think that in the game we see that importance. And I'm hoping that we get some increased ness from him or added to him. Now, again, with Nute Gunray, jumping over to Nute Gunray, I'm absolutely thinking that this guy's kit rework has to be a completely different look, because right now Nute Gunray isn't good. He's not. Of the Separatists, he's one of the worst. And like, he's got cowardly shot, he's got grenades, he's got backroom subterfuge, which is a really cool name for an ability, but it just doesn't do much. Now, what I would love to see is Nute Gunray be a C-3PO for the Separatist team. And what I mean by that is I want a character who has a lot of supporting abilities. Right now, he's an attacker. He shouldn't be an attacker. Nute Gunray wasn't an attacker. He was a lackey. He was a leader, but he was still a lackey. And as such, he needs to have different abilities. And from what we see from Carrie's post, he's going to have a ton of different abilities, right? Or they're just going to completely rework everything. Now, first off, I don't think Nute Gunray should attack in and of himself. I think that he should have an ability, a unique ability, where if he's attacked or if he's targeted even, then what happens is he can set up a trap of some sort. Nute Gunray was a key character in trapping Amidala on Naboo. He set up a number of other traps, as we saw in Queen Shadow. He needs to be someone who, if attacked, can do damage, not in and of itself, but maybe like if Nute Gunray is in a leadership position, then everyone on the offense or every Galactic Republic character who is an enemy gets 5 stacks of, I don't know, sabotage or something like that, which then every time they target Nute or Nute takes damage from an attack, that then damages them, that damage can be avoided or something to that extent. It would be really impressive because, one, again, Nute really didn't attack a ton, right? He had other people do his business. He had other people do his fighting for him. And I think that as a leadership ability, he needs to be able to help those people do damage or something to that extent. But he himself shouldn't have an attack. That's just my belief. Now, I do like the whole grenades, the explosions, hence the bomb, the subterfuge, the whatever I just mentioned. I also think Nute should have like a flea, something very similar to C-3PO's escape. Same thing with Yoda. I think that it's very possible that we could see that. Nute Gunray was slippery. He was able to evade not only capture, but prosecution. He was able to evade all kinds of stuff that he didn't have to pay for. And so I'm really thinking that he needs something that, like, if he's the last character, he's out. He just bolts, he books, whatever. I think that would be cool. I think he needs to support droids, specifically, quite possibly be connected to Count Dooku, maybe even Grievous, but Grievous is a droid cyborg, I think makes sense. And the last thing, I think he either needs to stun or stagger, or he needs to do something that just slows the other team down. Now, I don't necessarily think Nute needs to be viable in a ton of different areas, and it sounds like that these two, both Dooku and Nute, are meant to be specifically worked, specifically geared and focused to the new territory battle. And if that's the case, then I don't think that he's going to be a viable candidate for Arena. Same thing with Count Dooku. I don't think either of these characters should be viable in Arena or meta changing. I think they should just be reworked to be better, to make them exceptional. Now, I think that we'll actually start to see information about these reworks launched probably within the next week and a half. Definitely by mid-May, we should know what these two new characters look like anew. I think their kits will be completely reworked, and we will be able to have information about what they look like. These are just my thoughts. Again, I don't think Nute should be an attacker. He should be a support character and a leader for sure. And I think Dooku just needs like some ginseng or something. Just give him a boost, help the brother out, because he's just not as good as he could be. And I feel like that's doing him a disservice. But what do you think these two kits should look like? Leave a comment in the section below. Like, subscribe, share. Visit us on goingnerdy.com, where I post other information about other nerd topics. I just talked about Game of Thrones. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at RealGoingNerdy. You can support the channel by picking up a t-shirt at the Going Nerdy swag store. All of this is in the section below. Like, subscribe, share, guys. This has been Thaddeus from Going Nerdy, and as always, my friends, smile and stay nerdy.